It's time to talk sports. It's Hacksaw's Headlines, a panorama of the world of sports, stories, comments, and opinions.
Touchdown, San Diego!
Now, here's iconic sports talk show host Lee Hacksaw Hamilton and co-host John Riley.
Who wants to talk sports on a Friday? We do, you do. From the DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Center Studios in San Diego, we say Happy New Year to you. Welcome to 2026. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Lee Hacksaw Hamilton. Hope you had a great holiday. We are here in the DIXIELINE Lumber Studios, along with my co-host from left field, John Riley, coming off an unbelievable holiday week of sporting events, going towards a great sports weekend. Podcast brought to you by DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Centers. Lots of locations to serve you in San Diego. You got projects, you got materials, you want ideas, they can be your best friend and your consultant. Go to DIXIELINE.com to see all the things that they have to offer. John Riley, happy holiday. Welcome to 2026. My God, we're moving into the fourth year of doing this podcast together. Boy, we got a lot to talk about and some real surprise stories in the world of sports.
Yeah, man, Happy New Year. Yeah, it's a good day. New Year's is a great time for football fans.
We got it. We got through it. Okay. I got through it. It's brutal. I'll never do this again. I spent my Christmas in Michigan, and it was great with family. It was cold, and it snowed, and I got sick by the time I got home, and I spent 18 hours trying to get home. Flights disconnected, canceled, suspended, repositioned. It was brutal, but we are here, and we are back, and we're going to start 2026 with a lot of different topics on the table. Just a reminder, when we are done, we're going to the Fans Forum chat box. You're going to join this because we put topics on the table. We have opinions about the topics on the table. We do sports talk the way it should be done. And then you are invited to come pull up a chair, sit next to us, and express some opinion. John, how does Fans Forum work?
Talk to me, La Mesa, La Costa, Lucadia. Call me on the Aztec line. Okay, anyways, you got a question or comment in the world of sports for Hacksaw or even for me, just drop your hot take in the live chat on YouTube, on X, and on Facebook. We'll get you involved in Fans Forum.
Listen, do us a favor. Give us a thumbs up. Hit the follow button. Want you to give us a 5-star rating. It really helps us a great deal. Okay, ready, set, go. We're talking what we just saw the last couple of nights in college football.
Yeah, these playoff games were something, Lee.
Nobody could have projected this. I don't know anybody in the world that I'm friends with, that I network with, whether it be in sports or be in the media covering sports, that could have thought this was going to happen. We're talking about the college football playoffs. Miami shocked Ohio State, which has spent the entire football season being ranked number one till they got to the finish line, the Big Ten Conference, and lost. And they got pummeled. Miami beat Ohio State at its own game. I mean, Miami for years has been known as throw it, throw it, throw it. Great quarterbacks, wide receivers, skilled people, the Michael Irvins of the world. Miami beat them with their defense. They beat the hell out of them in the first half. And then in the fourth quarter, they went to heavy jumbo packages, ran the football, and Ohio State had no answer. Julian Sayin, I thought, played really well considering what he was facing in terms of blitz packages, etc. Kid wound up. This kid's a redshirt freshman, threw for 287, 3 touchdowns, did take a lot of sacks, did take a lot of hits, had an awful lot of pressure on a lot. But at the end of the day, they didn't ask Carson Beck to win it. Miami won it with their defense. Oregon just trashed Texas Tech. End of the day, does not matter. Dan Lanning will play you anywhere you want. Home, road, on the moon. You want to get into a shootout, he's got Dante Moore. You want to play defense, we'll send my athletes to chase down your athletes. What a phenomenal performance. 23-0 whitewashing of Texas Tech. Nice having you here. Go back to Lubbock. You're not what you thought you were, despite all the money you spent in the transfer portal. I mean, the dudes just overwhelmed the Red Raiders. Texas Tech was averaging 480 yards per game, John. They finished with 209. Like I say, Dan Lanning's team will beat you any way you want to play the football game. Dante Moore threw for 234. Just phenomenal performance. Indiana. Wow. Ugly. Bad. I think people are really upset in Tuscaloosa now. Here's the most amazing thing. I went back and researched this. Indiana's been playing college football in Bloomington for 136 years. Indiana's composite record, 501, 717, and 46. Under Cignetti, They're 25-2 since he arrived. You talk about a flip, a role reversal.
Yeah.
That's absolutely amazing. And they just destroyed Alabama. Mendoza, he of Heisman Trophy fame, threw for 192 and 3 touchdowns. Hoosiers stampeded for 215 yards on the ground. Indiana outgained Bama 407 to 193. Indiana on third downs was 9 of 13 on conversions. Tyler Sampson, Alabama quarterback, who had a great first half of the season, but their offense has been leaking oil since then. He got knocked out late in the second quarter, shoulder injury, threw for only 103 and a touchdown. But boy, what an absolutely amazing turnaround they've had at Indiana. And then there was the shocker. Georgia, whom I thought was going to sledgehammer their way over Ole Miss, gets beaten. What a hell of a game, 37-34. Trinidad Chambliss, the Division II transfer, goes into Ole Miss and puts together a record game. 362 Sugar Bowl yards, a couple of touchdowns along the way. Ole Miss got field goals of 47, 55, and 56 en route to the victory. They rallied from a 21-12 defeat where I thought, here comes Georgia. They're just going to roll. And the Bulldogs didn't get it done. Poor Gunnar Stockton, the quarterback, he took some wicked hits. He finished with 215 and a touchdown. Burning sidebar question, is Lane Kiffin going to allow the 6 Ole Miss assistant coaches to stay in Oxford for this week and going forward to help the Rebels prepare for the semifinals or maybe the championship game? Or he's going to reach in and pull these guys out, tell them to come to LSU. You agreed to coach with me at LSU. So Lane Kiffin, who's not revered at all right now in Oxford, now what's he going to do in that Ole Miss situation? So, John, let's start at the top. What we saw Miami did to Ohio State, what Oregon did, what Indiana has become, and how Ole Miss accomplished what the Rebels accomplished.
I mean, first of all, just in general, it was a great day. On New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, all the big games, and I'm thinking this is great. The expanded playoff format, this is good. You know, this is round 2, and it was marquee stuff up and down the line. Now, for Miami, it was interesting. Well, first of all, I'm thrilled that Ohio State lost. I'm sick and tired of those guys. Okay. Now, it's nice to see that Miami. It was fun checking out Michael Irvin on the sidelines with Ray Lewis, you know, but it was cool to see the Hurricanes as a relevant program in America. Because I just go back to the days in the 80s when that was the Jimmy Johnson heyday. So it's kind of nice to see them back. And then I got this to say. I think we should declare that Texas Tech and Alabama have been relegated to the group of 5 because I don't want to see any of these blowout games in the college football playoff, right, Lee? Right?
Well, you're the one, though, that was telling me James Madison and SMU and all these other guys in the group of 5s, they belong in the party. And now you see the guys from the big conferences getting there and getting punched in the mouth.
Well, that's my point, you know, is that even the big guys get punched in the mouth, too. So that's why I want to expand this thing to 16 or 32 teams, if you ask me. It's a thrill for Indiana. I mean, you know, my wife has relatives that are graduates there. A good friend of mine's a IU grad, and I'm so happy for them, you know, because they've endured like misery forever. And so I think it's terrific. And that Ole Miss Georgia game last night, that was something. I mean, that game was going back and forth, and watching those two quarterbacks go at each other. It was interesting that Chambliss was the national champion D2 last year
at Ferris State.
Yeah, so I don't get to see enough Ole Miss here. I don't know. They don't really broadcast it on TV very often.
Well, they haven't been a player in the SEC. Now they've been a player in the SEC. Now their coach jumps ship and leaves them behind in the SEC. But last I checked, the Rebels are still playing football, and Lane Kiffin's team is not.
Yeah, but Kiffin would be even the doubly worst hated man in Oxford if he cherry-picked his coaches now. He's got to let them stay with the team, right?
I concur. So that's where we are. You saw the college football games. What surprised you the most? What do you appreciate the most after what we saw quarterfinal games as we go to the semifinal games? Oregon, Indiana in one semi, and Ole Miss Miami in a battle of the Old South in the other. Okay, we go from that. Fans Forum chat box is open for college football fans. Jump on board. We go from that to talking about stories off the field because there is stuff to cover everywhere, John.
Yeah, look at all these bobbleheads here, starting with Lincoln Riley at USC.
Well, he's taking a lot of heat. USC is not what USC used to be. And, of course, they lost in their bowl game to Texas Christian again. TCU ran all over them. Jaden Mayava, couple more interceptions. His play the second half of the season is eradicated. But at the end of the day, they had 12 players who opted out of the game. And this is the negative side of college football as we have it right now. They had 3 offensive linemen pull out. All their top receivers pulled out. Mayava did not have the best people around him. Lincoln Riley uses the quote, "It's been a tough 4 years." You think? And how about this? He removed his defensive coordinator, Danton Lynn, from his position the night before the game. Did not let him call plays in the bowl game. Just like the players who were leaving, Danton Lynn accepting a job somewhere else, he pulled him out. USC is just not USC. We are 4 years into the Lincoln Riley mission. And I know you liked him because you're an Oklahoma honk. At the end of the day, have they won the conference they were in? No. Have they gotten a playoff berth in the 4 years that Lincoln Riley's been there? No. And he says, the future's right there in front of us. The window was open. Well, we've just seen the debris left behind over 4 years. Not very good. Let's talk about Dan Lanning. What an absolutely phenomenal coach. He spent his press conference before the playoff game not talking about the Ducks, not talking about Texas Tech. Spent the entire press conference talking about the College Football Commission. In essence, he said the college game is broke. He wants radical changes. He says it's time to stand behind me. Here's the placard. We got to fix this. He wants all the coaches in the association to join him to say, change this thing. He wants no buys during the regular season. He wants a change in the structure of the playoff system. He wants all the games done and the championship played in the granddaddy of them all in the Rose Bowl on January 1st. And I kind of tend to agree with him. He says we should all start the regular season in week 0 in August. Everybody play the same number of games with no buys, and let's just get on. If we have to go to a 16-team playoff, so be it. But let's get on and end it by January 1st. He thinks it's a deterrent. Some teams have 24, 25 days off their buys before they have to play a game. He doesn't think that works and it's fair to everybody. So it's really interesting. Oh, by the way, when in your lifetime would you ever have thought this? Granddaddy of them all, Rose Bowl? You have to win the granddaddy of them all so you can go play in the Peach Bowl in the next round of the playoffs. Because that's what college football has degenerated into.
Yeah, it's all money, man.
It's really absurd. Third guy there, Penn State coach, Danton Lynn, ex-USC defensive coordinator, ex-UCLA defensive coordinator, goes to Penn State to work on that new staff that they're putting together. He was removed the night before the game, which I thought was really bizarre, by Lincoln Riley to remove Danton Lynn. But he played at Penn State, did his graduate work at Penn State. I understand the attachment to go back to State College. Fourth one in line. I feel really badly for him. Now, I don't care what he says, how he tries to paint the picture. This is hopeless. San Diego State, transfer portal window opened. Sean Lewis has lost his entire defense. Virtually every star on the defense has filed to go into the transfer portal. Transfer portal opened at 8 o'clock this morning. Do you know in the first 4 hours, John, 4,010 players went into the portal to transfer in the first 4 hours. My last count, San Diego State's got 18 players in the portal. No continuity at SDSU. He's got to rebuild this thing again. And this is from a coach, and I buy his sales pitch about the methodology of how you run a program in the new era of college football, how you treat your players, how you come together in the university, in the community. He's done everything right in terms of his presentation. And these kids turn and go into the transfer portal. And these are cornerstone players that they help get them to 10 or 9 wins this season. Just horrible. I'm not begrudging Trey White. I'm not begrudging Cummings, the linebacker. But at the end of the day, You can't just keep losing these people. I should say Owen Chambliss. McDougal, the cornerback, he's lost so many people.
But this is not unique to Lewis. I mean, this is everywhere.
But at the end of the day, we're watching him try to fix this thing in this new era of the Wild West, and he's done everything right to sales pitch his kids who we are, what we represent, how we're going to treat you, and they still keep jumping ship on them.
Yeah.
So that's a big blow. And the last one is your guy, Chip Kelly.
Yeah, my guy.
Your guy. Chip Kelly, who's failed a ton of places since he was a star at Oregon. Chip Kelly hired as offensive coordinator at Northwestern. He had applied for a whole bunch of other jobs other places. Chip Kelly has also now taken Jerry Neuheisel, who was the offensive coordinator and quarterback coach at UCLA. He's taken him with him to Evanston, Illinois. So there's just an absolute ton of stories off the field in college football. So go ahead. Tell me you like or dislike Lincoln Riley, your thoughts on Dan Lanning, the whole Danton Lynn thing. Do you feel for Sean Lewis? And your guy, Chip Kelly.
Yeah, my guy. You know, again, back to Sean Lewis, he is just sort of a victim of
the system,
how it's been blown up with all the transfer portal stuff. I mean, I was looking at my Twitter feed and I see all these different Aztecs jumping ship. You know, they're making announcements on Twitter. I want to thank the Aztec fans and Aztec Nation, but now I'm going to take my talents somewhere else. But you know, Jordan Napier, the receiver, he's sticking around. So there's still people that are still, you know, what is it they call it? Finish the climb, or they got a name for it. So every one of these coaches is going through that same sort of thing, you know, and in various ways. And so it's hard to judge the impact of these coaches when the players are just so fluid. But I'll give Dan Lanning credit. I mean, I like the plan he laid out, you know, and there is no, like, it seems like a solid structure to the way that the college football, the scheduling is done. It just seems like it's very
hodgepodge.
Yeah, hodgepodge. There's really no boundaries, it seems, on the dates and who gets buys and how many games you play, because other teams play more games. And so the way that he set it up, start on week 0, let's go straight through, maybe have to reserve the whole month of December for playoffs and finish it up by New Year's would be fantastic. And then you could synchronize that with the whole transfer portal calendar. I mean, they could fix this whole thing, you know, if they just got a couple of guys at a table and mapped it out on a calendar.
Yeah, but we don't care about USC Notre Dame's rivalry. It goes back to 1926. We'd rather play Murray State in 1AA football. My God.
Well, they got to figure that out too.
Yeah.
But you know, it's like you just got to do the scheduling and make sure that we have like a common set of objectives. You know that what your every team, let's say for example, is going to play every team in their conference once every other year. You know, depending on these mega conferences, and maybe you always have 1 week for rivalry games. And then maybe you have another spot in your schedule that you play, let's just say, a non-power conference team that's in your region, you know, to create a little bit of a rivalry like USC against San Diego State. I mean, that would work. But structure it.
But the conferences don't work together. They're working against each other. That's all a power move, too, as to how you schedule, who you schedule, how many conference games you play.
Do you think we're going to get down to 2 conferences at some point? It's just going to be the Big Ten and the SEC?
No. I think on the horizon, I think emotionally everybody says, Big Ten, SEC. Other guys don't really count. Well, it shouldn't be that way. So that's where we're
Well, you got an ACC team in the Final Four in Miami. So, you know.
By the way, in the transfer portal, as of noon today, I had counted 18 Aztecs, 18 from Colorado State, plus Colorado State's starting quarterback, Vegas' starting quarterback, New Mexico's starting quarterback, Hawaii's quarterback, all in the transfer portal. Wow.
Well, I saw a note that Bert Emanuel is going to stick around, but he's going to go to wide receiver. And that could be something special.
Sure.
I mean, he's big and tall and fast.
Yeah.
But you're right. The quarterbacks are... those are the hottest of all the free agents.
Yeah, it's absolutely stunning. So you're a college football fan, agree or disagree with Dan Lanning? Your thoughts, if there's any USC fans, friends, and alums out there want to talk about what Lincoln Riley has or has not done. And does anybody feel for Sean Riley, or I should say for Sean Lewis, like I feel for Sean Lewis? Feel free. Fans Forum chat box is open. So that was neat during the week leading into the weekend. Here comes the final weekend of the National Football League schedule.
Yeah, here we go. Fight for first place on Sunday.
A lot of different storylines here. Chargers go to Denver to close this thing out. The Chargers have conceded. They'll take the wild card spot they have. They're not going to try to get better. Had they played their starters, maybe they could have finished in 5th in the AFC, which would have gotten them a different wild card game. Instead, they've waved the white flag. They're going to protect Justin Herbert. They're going to protect Imai Hampton. They're going to protect some of their wide receivers. They're going to play a lot of backups as they go to Denver to meet the Broncos. The Broncos are 13-3. They're playing for home field advantage through everything in the AFC. So Justin Herbert sits this week to get healthy, to protect him. He has 4,225 all-purpose yards, 28 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, 54 sacks. This guy's done a hell of a job with no help in front of him. I don't disagree with what Harbaugh's doing, but he sentenced himself to a first-round road trip game in New England. And as for Denver, Bo Nix, he's gotten progressively better and better. The Orange Crush defense is just absolutely amazing. 64 sacks, 31% conversion rate on third downs, just don't allow touchdowns. So this will be ugly. It'll be like going to the dentist, and then the Chargers will take a deep breath and go back on the practice field, get everybody back on the field, and get ready for what appears to be wild card road trip to go play Drake May, New England Patriots. Rams, Arizona. Now it's the flip side. Sean McVay's guaranteed a spot. They're playing their starters in Arizona. Granted, Arizona's not very good, but they're playing the starters because he needs to get the momentum back. You know, they've lost 3 road games recently at Charlotte. Obviously, the crushing loss at Seattle, and then the garbage loss in Atlanta. They need to get their momentum back. That's an 11-5 Rams team that's not playing like it was playing for a chunk of time. The game of the weekend has to be Seattle, San Francisco, number 1 in the NFC, number 1 in the Western Conference. Huge game. Seahawks are on a heater. They've won 10 of their last 11. They're 13-3. What a superb job Kyle Shanahan has done in San Francisco. Brock Purdy and Mac Jones prior, CMC, McCaffrey, and now they get Kittle back. And their young wide receivers, collectively, they are playing really, really good football. It's going to be a hell of a game on Sunday. Are the Lions going to upset the Bears? Lions are pissed that they're out of the playoff race. It's been just kind of a crummy back half of the schedule for them. They play a Bears team. It's 11-5. Caleb Williams, big plays. That Detroit defense going to come after him and try to disrupt them. They got to solve what's happened to Jared Goff's just turning the football over way too much in Detroit. It's heartbreaking in Detroit because they've lost their ability to go to the playoffs again. And then you got the AFC North first place slot up for grabs. You got the Ravens, you got the Steelers. It used to mean something, doesn't mean very much. It'll be Lamar Jackson, who's still not 100%, against Aaron Rodgers, maybe playing his final game of his career. It's Mike Tomlin, obviously, versus John Harbaugh. I can't get amped about what has been a great rivalry for a long time, only because these guys, like Carolina, who plays Tampa Bay, they're both scuffling in their division, the weakest divisions in the league. They're going to play for the right to go into the playoffs and get run out in the first round of the wild card. So there's some good attractions to look to, some bad games there that they're going to carry some cup. And John Riley says,
Niners.
Damn right.
It's going to be a great game. San Francisco against Seattle. I'm fired up for that. And now, is that going to be on the afternoon or the evening on Sunday? You remember?
This afternoon.
Okay, so it'll be in the afternoon slot. Yeah, that's must-see TV. Absolutely. And again, if the Niners win, they could play the rest of the season at Levi Stadium, including the Super Bowl.
And they're playing really, really well.
They really are. And, everyone's, falling in love with Brock Purdy and the way he's throwing the ball around. So it's just a great storyline there. The Chargers, you said, okay, they're giving up, as far as trying to better their position in the NFL playoff, AFC playoff race. But if they were to host in a best case scenario, they were to win against Denver, they were going to host a game. You're going to end up with Texas coming back into town, or maybe Buffalo.
Well, the way it's worked, they're not going to host.
Well, no, but they won't, right? So what I'm saying is that if they tried to hold on to that number, what would it be, the 5 seed or something? There's still no guarantee they're going to get an easy game at SoFi. So, either way, I mean, I think they're doomed. I mean, if they have to go on the road and play against the Patriots, I mean, they're red hot right now.
At the end of the day, we can say, what a great Superman season Justin Herbert's had.
Yes.
Exactly. And there's no doubt, Harbaugh is held in high esteem with Greg Roman and Jesse Minter. But at the end of the day, John, they lost to the 3-13 Giants. They lost to Washington. Mm-hmm. They got punched in the mouth by Jacksonville. I mean, there's some bad losses on that agenda, which is why they're going to be a road playoff team, and opportunity lost here to host a home game or host a bunch of home games, which to me is critical in their equation to stay out of the cold weather, to stay out of the hostile environment, and they lost games they should have won. And that's happened each of the 2 years when they played somebody on the road. When they were favored, they lost. So Harbaugh is not the complete god here as it relates to all things greatness.
Losing those tackles has just killed everything.
Exactly.
I mean, if those guys were still around, it's a completely different picture. Right. So, yeah, I mean, right now it's like you're just happy they make the playoffs, but it could be like one and done.
Again.
Yeah.
And then whole national media is going to be the opinion, look at him. Superman, the quarterback, he hasn't won a playoff game yet.
Yeah, right.
Which is true.
Yeah.
But that's an organizational thing.
Yeah, it is.
Or a bad luck thing, not just
it's
a Justin
Dean
Herbert
Spanos thing.
That's right. Okay, you want to talk about some of the hot games? Fans Forum chat box is open. That's why we're doing this podcast on a special Friday going towards this great NFL weekend. One other NFL note. Topic?
Yeah, here you are predicting doom and gloom in the NFL.
Nice headline you wrote here, Mr. Negative. The day after the season ends, people lose their jobs. We call it Black Monday equals pink slips. Huge question. What is going to happen in the Raider Nation? Biggest question of all. Is this Pete Carroll's fault? Or is this an organizational failure that dates back to 2002 because of the incompetence of Mark Davis? And is Tom Brady going to have some input that's going to make things better going forward for the Raiders? I don't think it's Pete Carroll's fault. Bad roster, free agent defections, injuries, blown draft picks dating as far back as when John Gruden was calling the shots. This is all at the front door in the mailbox of that owner, Mark Davis. Mark Davis, you are not your dad. Get the hell out of NFL football. 2-14, they're going to get the number 1 pick. And then, of course, there will be the big push towards Tom Brady. Tom, you got the number 1 pick. Mendoza or the young quarterback from Ole Miss, because they're both going to be in the draft. Chambliss, right at the top. So, is Pete Carroll going to get fired? I don't think he deserves to get fired. I'd fire the freaking owner. The weird one is Cleveland. And we have talked extensively about the troubles, the draft picks, the quarterback issues, the salary cap mess, the Deshaun Watson fiasco. Are they going to fire Kevin Stefanski? 2-time Coach of the Year award winner. But he's also been beset with enormous quarterback crisis ever since he took that job. They are 7-26 in the last 2 seasons with Stefanski. Mark my word, if he gets fired, he's going to be maybe the first guy that gets hired by somebody else who wants a veteran head coach to work with their kid quarterback. So we'll see if the Haslam family hits the eject button on Kevin Stefanski. Arizona, it's just been a malaise of problems. Arizona's got quarterback issues. Is Kyler Murray the right guy? He can't stay on the field. Why is Arizona, with all the skilled people on offense, been so shoddy? Has the defense quit on John Gannon? Is John Gannon, who came from Philadelphia, the right guy for the job? And by the way, if we're pointing arrows at Jonathan Gannon, let's make sure those arrows also sling in the direction of the owner, Michael Bidwell, because I think this is organizational dysfunction there. Tampa Bay. This is weird. Todd Bowles, great resume, great reputation as a defensive mind. Players respond to him. We had the midseason. They got blown out of 4 games in a row, and then they had injuries. And poor Baker Mayfield's had no support help at all. There is an undercurrent that the players quit on Todd Bowles, and Todd Bowles lost the locker room. Is Todd Bowles going to get fired in Tampa Bay? In Miami, I think, and they had a 4-game win streak here at the end. The bigger question is, do you get rid of the coach, Mike McDaniels, or maybe you get rid of the quarterback and the wide receiver? But there's salary cap implications if you hit the eject button on Tua Tagovailoa and Tyreek Hill. Interesting stories to see what they do in Miami. New York Jets, man, they got roster problems everywhere. I would have never, ever thought in my day that anything Aaron Glenn would be involved in would be this bad defensively. I mean, he came off the Detroit staff. The guy's got great reputation, X's and O's and all that. He's got no quarterback. That's a problem. They have no interceptions in 17 weeks.
That's weird.
No pass interceptions. So the question is Aaron Glenn the right guy to lead you? So we've got 2 jobs already open, the Giants and Tennessee jobs were opened early in the season, and we could have, we've got 6 there. We might have as many as 6 or 7 more pink slips given out on Monday. And by the way, those are not the only guys that might get fired. Rumors are everywhere that Joe Shane could get axed as general manager with the New York Giants. I mean, this is his situation. Even though he's drafted a quarterback, a running back, and a wide receiver who are the foundation of what's going to be the future. Big rumors that what's Cincinnati going to do? Joe Burrow keeps insinuating there must be changes. And he's not talking about coaching staff. I think he's talking about organizational philosophy. And are they going to fire the general manager and the player personnel director, Duke Tobin, in Cincinnati? They should fire Mike Brown, but that won't happen. In Atlanta, where they got the stockpile of all this young skill people, but they're out of the playoffs again, have they reached the end of the road with Terry Fontenot? So pink slips are coming Monday. We gave you a laundry list there. You got opinions, feel free. Jump on board, Fans Forum. John, response to what you see.
I think you're making this up about Pete Carroll. I mean, there's no way that he's going to be the fall guy for this. I mean, you can't blame him. I mean, it just seems like you're just trying to manufacture a story or something. You know, granted, I agree with you. Mark Davis is the problem. The organization has been in shambles for forever. They got a lot of rebuilding of that roster to do. But you can't blame Pete Carroll. What are you doing?
I'm not blaming Pete Carroll, but everybody nationally is writing about it, and they have no hope. But that's because they have no players. And who's that to be blamed? All the people Mark Davis has put in place for years leading up to Pete Carroll's hiring.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, look at a lot of these teams have had bad owners for a long time. I mean, the Raiders, the Browns, the Cardinals, I mean, the Jets, you know, so you can see it's organizations that win championships.
Okay, that's where we are. You got an opinion on the coaching carousel. Please join us. Hey, we get to halftime. Our special Friday broadcast as we launch into 2026 is brought to you by DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Centers. Tell you what, they've been in business a long time. They deal with contractors. They deal with people like you and me and even the guy in left field, John Riley. You got projects, they got materials. You want ideas, they can help you. And they have a tool section in every one of their stores that is a knockout. I want you to go to DIXIELINE.com to see all the things they have to offer. John, just take the ball, run with it. Give us some facts and information about DIXIELINE.
Some facts and information. Yeah, DIXIELINE is like a blend of multiple things, okay? On one level, it's a blend of like your local hardware store, but they also have like a commercial lumber yard. You can drive your truck right into the back of their lot. They'll load up your pickup truck. They'll load up, maybe you've got like a flatbed truck, but they'll take care of the homeowner and the contractor. But they still have that friendly kind of local hardware store feel to them. And then at the same time, they service both homeowners and contractors. And so here, you see the video here, a bunch of like these big windows, these big doors that they provide for homes all around San Diego County. Doors, windows, lumber, building materials, decking materials. This is like the playground for people that are involved in really making their homes look like A-plus places to live.
DIXIELINE.com. Just check the website out, all the different things that they have to offer. And we thank DIXIELINE for being our teammate as we go towards 4 years together. Just a couple other notes. When we're done putting topics on the table, because we do sports talk the way it should be done, we tell you what we think about the stories that everybody's talking talking about. We open it up to you. And John's got a laundry list of people lined up here like the airplanes at LAX trying to get back home after the Christmas holiday. Fans Forum chat box, how does it work?
Fans Forum chat box. Yeah, I can see all the names up there. Phenom has been, posting a lot in there. So is Mario and Graham, and I know John is in there, and I'm leaving out a lot of names, but thanks for being part of this. I mean, you guys make a huge difference. The Fans Forum segment, we do it as a separate deal on YouTube, and that always gets so many views, and it's because of the questions that you ask. So if you have a comment or question in the world of sports for Hacksaw, drop your take in the live chat on YouTube, on X, or on Facebook. We'll get you involved in Fans Forum.
Okay, just a couple of other reminders. I write about sports every day of the week on my website. Have you checked my website? It won't take you 15 seconds to punch it up on the internet. It's LeeHacksawHamilton.com. Go to the best 15 minutes page every day. It's posted first thing every morning. You will get all the big stories in the world of sports. You get that, and you get my one man's opinion columns, because I write a column every day of the week about a wide variety of talk show stuff. So that's LeeHacksawHamilton.com. Join Hacksaw's Insiders Group. That way you can get on the email list. John and I send out 2 newsletters a day. You get it absolutely free. You just need to register on the homepage, Hacksaw's Insiders Group. Share, tell everybody what we do. Mondays and Thursdays, normally at 1:30. Subscribe. When you subscribe, you get all types of different videos that we post on the YouTube channel. Follow me on social media at Hacksaw1090. I want you to join my team. I got like 10,000 followers almost on X, on my Twitter All-Star team. Do that too. So lots of ways to follow us, and AI has helped us grow this thing like you wouldn't believe. I don't understand how it works. This guy's the one that's the link. We keep putting out more and more volume of stuff via AI as part of the website.
Yeah, we've been doing that, and that's been really fun. It's really boosted our numbers. But I'll tell you what, man, you don't quit. It doesn't matter if it's rain nor sleet nor snow. You're involved in like a snowstorm in Detroit. You come back home, you're a little under the weather, but you're championing through. I mean, the sports fans around here, they appreciate you.
It's called playing hurt.
Yeah.
Damn. I spent 18 hours trying to get home. I got canceled out of so many flights because of weather problems. I like Salt Lake City, but not at 1 o'clock in the morning with no hotel room. Not at all. Anyhow, that's where we are. Lots of ways to follow us. John, let's move to the second half. We're talking baseball.
Baseball. We finally got one of the big signings from Japan.
What did the Houston Astros get? The Astros win the bidding war for the Japanese right-hander Imai. At one point, it looked like he was in the running to go to the Dodgers, but they backed away. Didn't need him. At one point, looked like San Francisco decided not to spend the money. Never seemed to be a factor in Seattle. I was told was a factor with the Padres, but the deal changed at the last minute, and the Astros wind up getting Imai. Now, Scott Boras had dropped a lot of hints. Price tag on the Japanese right-hander would be 6 years, $150. Well, he didn't get that. He got 3 years at $54. Now, the average salary is pretty significant. They wound up going to Houston because Houston agreed at the last minute to add-ons that other clubs would not. It is a strange mix. How's he going to market himself? There's not a lot of Pacific Rim advertising opportunities in the city of Houston. I would have thought West Coast, and then I would have thought East Coast, but did not work that way. He's a pretty good pitcher, 1.95 ERA. The guy is 28. The guy is thin. He is not Yash Yamamoto. Boras keeps comparing him to the other client he delivered to the Dodgers. This guy is 5'10". This guy is 154. This guy's got 2 to 3 pitches. We'll just have to see how he holds up. This was a bit of surprise guy getting to the finish line and going somewhere where nobody thought that was possible. Reaction?
To Imai? Yeah. You know, the way you described is you were expecting him to go West Coast, East Coast for all the marketing. But I'll tell you what, Houston is a very cosmopolitan city. I mean, there's a very diverse blend of people. It's not just a good old boy kind of place, you know. So I'll bet you there's going to be marketing opportunities there that you would have least expected in Houston for him. But it surprised me, him getting hooked up with the Astros.
He goes there. The next name out there is Okamoto, the third baseman. We're waiting for that domino to fall. Now, Imai signed immediately because he had a deadline of today. And they announced it yesterday. Deadline for Okamoto, the third baseman, maybe first baseman, is going to be Monday at 2 p.m. Now, there's all kinds of questions. He's in Newport Beach, has held meetings with different clubs, etc. Boris is asking 2 years, 50. Again, Boris will take a shorter contract. Guy does well, goes out into free agency. But $25 million a year for a guy who strikes out a lot and is not a lock to hit major league pitching, that's a big, big issue. 277 career hitter Japan, 274 bombs, but that's against Japanese pitching. Interesting to see where Okamoto winds up going. Great unknown? Is that the best way to describe the third baseman?
Yeah. I'm not sure who he is or what he is. I know that there have been rumors with him with the Angels, him with the Padres. You know, he'd be a nice fit, I think, for the Padres because they need a guy to complement Gavin Sheets, to be first base designated hitter. But I just love seeing all this internationalization of the sport. So, bring him on. But yeah, we got one of them. One of the dominoes finally fell with Imai. Now the next one's going to fall on Monday.
Okay, we go from that. You got a comment on the Japanese pitcher going to Houston? Think he'll look good in a cowboy hat? Or Okamoto, where he winds up? We go from that. Let's come back home.
Coming back home, we'll talk here a little Padres, Angels, and Cardinals.
Okay, here's the background on the Imai situation. The Padres have a constricted budget. Padres really wanted this guy. What I said weeks ago, I think eventually happened. They offered him a 3-year deal. I was told in the market of $33 million per season, with the right to opt out after the first year and after the second year. It looked as if he would listen to it, but then Houston came into the bidding and went 3 years, 54. Well, that's a big difference. The other thing was the reality that the Padres, after they had conversation with Boros about our offer and the potential for him to go back into the market, in essence betting on himself in San Diego, Boros came back and asked for $9 million in innings bonuses on top of what he was going to get. And at the end of the day, my theory is, well, if we're paying him $33 million to be my starting pitcher, maybe the number 2 guy in my rotation, maybe number 3 guy, that should be enough. Why do I have to add $9 million more on top if he gets to innings quotas? And then the reality, they also have to pay Cebu Lions $9 million as a posting fee for the amount of money. So suddenly the Imai numbers have just rocketed because the agent keeps adding on. That's why that deal did not get done. In terms of the Padres, big question right now. They do have Sung Mun Song, second baseman, shortstop, third baseman. There's a rumor out there they may ask him to go to left field and play in a rotation platoon with Laureano. That would mean Cronenworth stays at second base, or Cronenworth rotates maybe with Gavin Sheets at first base. So it'll be interesting to see where that works. Padres are not done. The only problem is, there's an awful lot of names have come off the board so far. So maybe there is a trade coming. Maybe there's a second-tier player that they're going to try to rent on a short-term contract. But I was told they really gave the Imai thing a real run for the money. Let's talk about the Angels. Angels continue to buy on aisle 1 at Dollar General. This is the way they're going to conduct their business, so Angel fans accept it. They went out and they signed Kirby Yates, ex-Dodger, ex-Padre, ex-Texas Ranger. But he was hurt all last year, could not pitch at the end of the season. Dodgers did not pick up the contract. Kirby Yates comes and joins a rebuilt bullpen, very affordable, 1 year, $5 million contract. We'll see if Kirby Yates is totally healthy. Yates did have success when he pitched in Texas for Mike Maddox, but that's when he was healthy, and he's not been healthy. The other story has to do with Nolan Arenado. Angels are talking to the Cardinals about an Arenado transaction. The more they've talked, the more the deal has grown. The issue is Arenado's had 3 straight years in which his offensive numbers have gone down. He can still play Gold Glove shortstop at third base, I should say. He's got $42 million left on his contract, guaranteed, over 2 years. Angels do not want to take on the $42 million. Angels have gone back to St. Louis, I was told, and have asked St. Louis to pick up as much as $20 million of the $42 million. and the Angels are willing to give up 2 of their young players, Christian Moore, second baseman outfielder, or Enkane Data, I was told, young AAA pitcher. They'd give up 2 if St. Louis would pick up a chunk of the contract with Arenado. Arenado has to waive the no-trade clause on his contract. He would have to agree to a deferral of the St. Louis and Colorado money that's still part of that original contract to make this thing work. The other piece of the equation is the Anthony Rendon contract deal got done. I told you so.
Yeah.
It would involve deferred money. Mm-hmm. He was owed 38. Angels got Rendon to agree to defer the 38 and not take any hard cash till 2028.
All right.
So Rendon has given them a window. Here's my $38 million. You spend it. You don't make a payment on this deferred money till the year 2028. So Rendon helped the Halos through that. So maybe it'll give the Angels a little bit more money to go use. So, John, we got the Padres and the Japanese pitcher. You got the Padres and Song. And obviously you got the Cardinals, Angels, Arenado.
Doesn't it seem like all the guys that the Angels are signing are like the same guy?
Past tense.
Yeah, they're all guys that are coming off injury, are on the tail end of their career, on 1 year, maybe a 2-year deal. You know, just guys. And then they've been really active, you know, like plugging holes in their roster, getting these sort of
Worst stars.
Yeah, they're just like very generic players, you know, and just sort of plugging them in. So, and now they're thinking about Arenado and the money associated with that. I know that's part of the negotiation, but it just all goes back to the fact that I have no clue what their strategy is. I don't know what they're trying to accomplish there other than just to keep the turnstiles going and string along those poor fans in Orange County. Padres, I knew that, you know, Preller is in on all these guys, you know. If it's not Okamoto, it's Imai. And yeah, if the numbers don't make sense, they don't make sense, you know. And actually getting like a player, especially a pitcher with all those add-ons, that could be a good thing for a team if you're questioning if he has the durability to make the starts. If you're afraid he's going to be injury prone, that can be helpful. But if you add it all up, yeah, Preller has got a limited flexibility. And so, you know, there's always someone that's going to overpay, and this time it was Houston.
Yep, very much so. Okay, that's all things Padres, all things Angels. Fans Forum chat box is open for you to express an opinion. We go from that. Let's talk some Christmas Day, New Year's basketball.
Basketball, we got the Lakers and the Clippers, wins, losses, and explanations.
Boy, last week, when we came back on Monday, we talked extensively about J.J. Redick, lack of defense, the deplorable style of play, that end of the court, all the blowout losses. And Redick just lost his mind in a postgame press conference. So here they are, team meeting. We're going to concentrate. We're going to focus. We're going to do this. Well, they beat the crap out of the 8-25 Sacramento Kings. And suddenly everything's okay? We got back on track? No, you don't. You should turn around the next game you play and you give up 132 to the Detroit Pistons in front of your own fans. So the bottom line is the Lakers beat up on the Sacramentos and the Utahs of the world, and they play good people and they get run. And they're no closer to being a complete basketball team right now because Austin Reeves is hurt and Rui Hachimura is hurt again. It's like we're holding our breath that LeBron's not going to break down. This thing just doesn't fit. So that's one issue. I don't have an explanation how this is happening. That is Kawhi Leonard over there in the orange jersey. The Clippers, who are just miserable out of the gate, have won 6 in a row. Kawhi has won 6 in a row for the team. I don't know whether they've thrown caution to the wind, whether he doesn't care whether he gets hurt again. He's had 3 surgeries on that leg. He has gone off for 33, 41, 45, and 55 points in his winning streak. I mean, he is just playing enormous minutes and unbelievably productive. Now, some of those games have been against the Portlands and the Sacramentos and the Utahs of the world, so I have to see what happens as we get to the new year now and I start to play some other people in the NBA. I have no confidence in the Lakers, and I have no understanding what the Clippers are going to do if Kawhi breaks down. He's playing more minutes now than he's played in 3-4 years.
Doesn't it seem like his knee is going to blow up at any minute? You know, it's just like if there's something terrible is going to happen to Kawhi at some point. You hate to say it, but he's he would often, have a big game every once in a while, but not like this, like 4 games in a row. Yep. That's really unusual.
I mean, there's no doubt that's a great player, but there's no doubt that's a great player at risk. The way I view it.
Big time, yeah.
Okay, got a Laker, you're a Clipper fan, you're in Southern California, like basketball, feel free to express an opinion, fans forum chat box. Final topic on the table. We're going to do something different. The calendar has turned to 2026, and we thought one final time we would look back at 2025. Journalistically, took a lot of work to try to create a list that kind of made a lot of sense. John, go ahead.
Well, we broke it out by sport. So let's talk about the top stories in Major League Baseball.
This is 26 saluting 2025. To me, the top story has to be all things Fall Classic, all things Dodger Blue Jay World Series. Heroes everywhere. Whether it was Ohtani, whether it was Yamamoto, whether it was Pages, Rojas, Freddie Freeman, George Springer, Vladman. World Series. Record TV ratings globally has to be the baseball story of 2025. I thought the second one was the whole entourage, the evil empire, the Dodgers, the $383 million payroll, how they were viewed, what they did, then the information about the deferred money, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Baseball said they did nothing wrong. The union said they are operating under the guidelines we have. Congratulations to them. Third one was the tragic story of Tyler Skaggs. That was a miserable lawsuit wrapped around the Christmas holidays, and the Angels found guilty by the jury. That's why they settled this an hour before the jury was to return its verdict. I think it's a tragic story. We have a dead baseball player, and we have an Angel franchise whose reputation has been stained forever. Now, all the stories that I considered putting this list together, Juan Soto's record $765 million playoff contract. By the way, the Mets, did they make the playoffs? No. So that was one. Obviously, the Rendon bad contract of all time. The big dumper hitting 60 home runs in Seattle. What a great season for Cal Raleigh. Could have put it up to the top. It wasn't a top story. Mike Schilt turning his back on Padre baseball after 90 and 93 win seasons. The All-Star game, the home run derby slug-off, had never, ever happened before. That was kind of a cool baseball story. And then, obviously, some individual stuff. George Springer's ALCS 7th game home run that won it for the Jays. Ohtani's 3 home run, 10 strikeout outing in the National League Championship Series. There were so many really good stories in baseball to cover, but those are the top 3. Did I get it right?
Yeah, you got it right. Those are the top 3. I think if you're going to add on, the other one I was thinking about was the Tampa Bay Rays stadium situation.
That's true.
That's another weird one. But yeah, that Dodgers Blue Jays World Series was just fantastic. I mean, as a baseball fan, I mean, it had everything. It's funny. You remember there was that one play in the one. I think it was in the final game where Pages and who was playing left field at the time? Kike Hernandez. And they ran into each other by the wall. People have transformed that photo into Christmas ornaments, And so it's great. And there was that other moment of, Will Smith at home plate and getting the Blue Jay out by a millimeter. I mean, and then Yamamoto had that just dominant performance. So it was a great World Series. And I agree. And by extension, the whole big money Dodger thing. We've been talking about money in sports and how impactful is it? Is it fair? Is it unfair? Got the collective bargaining agreement coming up. So that's a legit, story as well. The Skaggs story, though, then that's obviously a Southern California thing, but was that a national story?
Did not get as much coverage in it because I thought it would.
Yeah.
But we were covering it because it was here.
Right.
So, okay, that's all things baseball looking back to 2025. Next sport you picked?
Yeah, the NFL. Here we go.
Let's talk about changing of the guard, National Football League. Eagles win the Super Bowl. Hell of a game. All things Jalen Hurts. All things offensive line. All things pass rush. Philadelphia, really strong performance to finally beat the Kansas City Chiefs. I guess that kind of coincides with the end of the Chiefs era. I know the whole world, it's quite commonplace. Yeah, we finally got the Chiefs. They got what they deserve. Well, please, respect what they did for a decade. You don't know how hard it is to keep a franchise and a team together for that great run. I mean, go to the Super Bowl 5 times in 10 years. That's phenomenal. But the end of the era, I would think the whole Shedeur Sanders story bears watching. I mean, how do you go from being the second pick on the draft board to tumble all the way down to the 5th round? The way you carried yourself, conducted yourself. Now he's tried to rebuild his credibility, and he played competitively on a bad football team. That goes into effect. You know, we could have put up there the Chiefs era. We could have put up there the teams that are hot. Vrabel, New England, Sean Payton, Bo Nix and the boys. Could have put up there the whole Pete Carroll fiasco in the Raider Nation. But not as many grab your stories as the Super Bowl in Philadelphia taking out Kansas City.
Yeah, I mean, that was a big one. I mean, that was 2 heavyweights in that Super Bowl. But, you know, I think there was a lot of controversy around the Steelers, you know, because you got Aaron Rodgers coming in. People were talking about getting rid of Mike Tomlin. You know, I think Brock Purdy's injury and the way he's come back from that has been pretty special. You can even talk a little bit about the Sam Darnold story and how he's had success in Seattle. But, yeah, to me, I mean, if I'm looking at these things, I would put the Chiefs' end of the era at the top. I might put Shedeur number 2, but that Super Bowl definitely is in the top 3.
Okay, you're a football fan. Feel free. Give us an opinion. Fans Forum chat box is open. We go from NFL. Let's talk college football top stories.
College football, starting with Brian Kelly.
Boy, I tell you what, there's so many different angles here. We're talking, I guess, for the most part, on this laundry list of guys who coached, who lost their job, or showed up and didn't do well. The demise of Brian Kelly, to me, is just staggering. I don't know that he'll ever coach again. Congratulations, you got your $54 million payoff. Nobody likes you. The stuff that is being written and said about him and the way he acted, they called him a condescending carpetbagger, a columnist in Baton Rouge. So I think the Brian Kelly termination is a big story. Bill and the Babe showing up in Chapel Hill. How'd that work out? Oh, my goodness. What North Carolina's boosters did to bring Bill Belichick and his mistress in on board, and they go 4-8, and all their players are in the transfer portal. So that's weird. The disgrace, Michigan man, Sharon Moore. We haven't heard the end of this story. This is going to spill into, I think, 2026. I think they're going to clean house in the Michigan Athletic Department. What an absolute disgrace about how Sharon Moore has acted and all the junk that has filtered out since he got arrested on that domestic incident. Lane Kiffin being Lane Kiffin. Job jumper, leaving, a lot of debris behind, the way he acts. Lane Kiffin. That's a big story. Obviously, the bitching and whining about Notre Dame not getting into the college football playoffs. Isn't that fascinating when you consider everybody got beat in this quarterfinal round? You know, some of the other stories, transfer portal, chaos being out of control, the death of the Pac-12 becoming Mountain West 2.0, the House settlement in Congress, which nobody seems to like. Maybe I could have put the dream season at Indiana up there. That story is still to be told. So I thought the coaching carousel and the guys who lost their jobs because of the way they acted, I thought those were the lead stories.
Yeah, that Lane Kiffin one was like a spectacle, you know, of dirty laundry, the whole thing. But I'm surprised, you didn't have Indiana, Curt Cignetti on that list. I mean, what he has done for the Hoosiers is just mind-blowing. And then, by the way, Brian Kelly, I mean, it's like he's almost like a grifter, you know? It's almost like he showed up, was, you know, posing with the players in the photo shoot, you know, in the hype videos, and he goes out and coaches, and he didn't seem like he was really all that focused, and then he walks away with a bankload of money, you know? And even the governor of Louisiana was angry about the whole thing. I mean, that was a disgrace. The Belichick story to me is just hilarious. I mean, just the whole, you know, his relationship with the girl and everything about that is just so like TMZ. It's just so odd. And it's just weird to see him go, you know, backwards towards college ball when he had been an NFL coach for forever. So, and then Notre Dame needs to get over themselves. Some of those guys are just join a conference, man.
Okay, the LA college football, what'd you think was a top story? Feel free to join us. We're going from that. Let's talk a little hoops looking back to 2025.
Yeah, the NBA.
Let's look at the list. Change into the guard, new breed of basketball, new roster, all things Oklahoma City. NBA looks really different because of who they are and what that general manager has put together there. And that's a really good NBA team. Is this a run? Back-to-back championships already. Are they going to be able to continue this? I think the Oklahoma City thing is a lead story. Luka to the Lakers. There's a lot of components to it. The Lakers getting Luka Doncic. Dallas going into destructive mode. The horrible reaction to the fans. The fact that franchise now looks doomed, and now they're trying to trade Anthony Davis less than a year after they got AD in the Luka transaction. That's a big story. A couple others that I thought about, Kevin Durant in that mega trade after Phoenix's blueprint fell apart. Kevin Durant going to Houston in a mega trade. I'd have to say the tip of the iceberg, this gambling scandal in college basketball, this is not over by any stretch of the imagination. We may have come through Christmas, but I think this story spills into 2026. WNBA labor war, no progress being made. Strike authorization's been called after the great success the WNBA's had 2 years running since the arrival of Caitlin Clark. And then the guys that left us, Greg Popovich retired because of the stroke and the terrible siege of Achilles injuries. Boston, Jason Tatum, Ty Halliburton in Indianapolis, those injuries too. But so I think the changing of the style of play in the NBA and the stockpiling of talent, that to me was a big story in the NBA, what OKC has done.
Yeah, that Luka trade, man, when that happened, I mean, we were all floored. I mean, where did this come from, you know? It was like, where were you on 9/11? Where were you when you heard Luka, has been traded to the Lakers? And you were like, yeah, the Lakers, of course, get Luka, It's like Dodgers. It's like Lakers. So that to me, that was a mind-blowing story. It was cool to see Oklahoma City, have success and see, SGA out there doing his thing. And you've talked about how we might see this like new rivalry, San Antonio, Oklahoma City, for the next few years, maybe even for the rest of the decade. That's exciting for the NBA. I think that's terrific. And yeah, Dallas fans, I mean, they're still pissed, about this whole trade. I mean, it's just like trading Jesus. I mean, it's just crazy.
Or Gretzky.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Feel free, if you're a basketball fan, tell us what you think about our hot list for big stories in 2025. Next sport we're touching bases on?
Yeah, we got a kind of the laundry list, starting with hockey.
I thought the most important story out of hockey was the Four Nations face-off. I thought that tournament was unbelievable. They played for the flag. They didn't play for the money. They played for the country. They didn't play for their team or their name on the jersey. They played for the crest. I thought the Four Nations tournament was cool. That is a jumping-off point as we now go towards the Olympics. The NASCAR lawsuit. Now, this is not a big story on the West Coast, but because I cover everything across the country, it's a big story nationwide. What Michael Jordan did in his testimony against the NASCAR ownership of the France family, saying that he stood up and he pointed at the table where the France family was sitting at the end of the trial and said, I come from the NBA. I learned the NBA players have rights. These owners and drivers deserve rights. We deserve a better contract, and we're going to get it. And an hour before the closing statements were to be made, NASCAR caved in, and they came to a solution on the charter situation. I thought that was a massive story in the world of sports. If you like tennis, those guys are now the stars of the future. That's your new rivalry, and we've been blessed to see greatness. Whether it was Chrissy Everett and Navratilova, whether it was Connors and Borg or whomever, Alcaraz versus Sinner. These are the stars going forward. And I think on the Pro Golf Tour, Rory McIlroy finally completing the Grand Slam. He finally got the Masters after all these years chasing it. Now he's won every one. He's become the fans' man, and obviously Scottie Scheffler doing what Tiger Woods did, winning 4 straight player championships. So just off the top of my head, I thought those were the big stories in all the other, I guess, the general category in sports. Yeah,
I'd say that the Rory story kind of went beyond the world of sports. It just seemed like everyone kind of knew who he was, and it was like a really nice way because he's on the tail end of his career. I mean, it was great. I mean, good for him. A great story about Rory McIlroy finally getting the Grand Slam. The Four Nations face-off, I remember when that was going down. I mean, you were just pumped. And so many people, on our live stream that participate in Fans Forum were fired up for that whole Four Nations tournament. I mean, and we are talking about how can they build this to be like the equivalent of a World Cup or a World Baseball Classic, and can you find that same energy? But then again, some players did get hurt in that.
Yes.
And who was it? Was it Chukuk?
The Kachucks.
And have they come back from that injury?
Yeah,
or
Matthew Kachuk has just come back.
Okay. I mean, so that's a legitimate worry, but that was a thrill for the fans.
And, of course, that's a jumping-off point for the Olympics. And yesterday and today, they just named Team Canada's Olympic side and Team USA's Olympic side. And everybody in hockey is just going crazy about who got named, who did not get named, et cetera. And all the European teams, they're naming all their stars. So, I mean, the Olympics and the World Cup will be regionally successful, just like I think what we just saw with the Four Nations face-off was. And then the last topic on the table, saying goodbye to good guys.
Yeah. Rest in peace to some sports heroes.
Yeah, in memoriam. Sitting in the cheap seats in heaven. How about Bob Uecker? Universally loved. He, of course, left us. Amongst the others, Ryan Sandberg, Hall of Fame fight against cancer twice before he finally succumbed in his age of 60s. Paul Tagliabue, he made the National Football League big business, although I will forever hold against Tagliabue what he did not do on behalf of injured players from head trauma and the concussion situation. Legendary, most unique man I think I've ever interviewed in hockey. Talking about the passing of Ken Dryden. We just lost right before Christmas Greg Biffle, veteran NASCAR driver, who'd done some unbelievable things on the track and then unbelievable things in the Deep South in terms of philanthropy work for hurricane victims. He died in a plane crash just a couple weeks ago. Dick Button. That's from your era. Legendary Olympic skater. I mean, he revolutionized style and jumps and figure skating and then became an enormously successful guy. I interviewed him a couple times talking about televising figure skating at the Olympics. Really good guy. And George Foreman. There's all kinds of boxers come, all sizes and shapes, all kinds of personalities, good people, bad people, bums, etc. George Foreman was one of the really unique power punchers and pitchmen. He was a pretty good guy, too. I started to make a list of guys that had passed, and it was really deep. Lenny Wilkins, a great ambassador of basketball. Bill McCartney, who built Colorado's football program. Hulk Hogan, who passed away. Great hockey leader and player, and Mel Bridgman. And we had a couple who passed here in San Diego. T.J. Simers, a very outspoken columnist of the Union Tribune and the L.A. Times. Scotty Miller, a tremendous baseball beat writer for CBS and Fox. He passed on. And Bryce Miller, columnist from the UT. So a lot of great names that left us, led by the guy in the cheap seats.
Yeah, I mean, there's some great guys on that list right there. But yeah, let's talk about Uecker. I mean, Uecker was just fantastic. I mean, I never, I started getting into baseball like in the mid-'70s. I think he might have been retired by then, I think. And so I didn't really know about him until the Miller Lite commercials, and that was, I must be in the cheap seats, And then we learned about him there. And then he was on Mr. Belvedere. And then he was always a guest on the Johnny Carson show. And so he was like an ambassador of the sport. And does baseball have a guy like that anymore? I don't think they do. I mean, he was a really unique personality.
The best phrase he ever gave me, I interviewed him a couple times, was, "Can you believe all this for a guy hitting .219?" I mean, he was journeyman.
Oh, totally. Yeah. And there's like he has the team photo of him like holding Bob Gibson's hand on the 1967 Cardinals. I mean, it's a guy was fantastic, and I just loved every bit about him, and I'm thrilled for the Milwaukee Brewer fans who were able to experience him for so long. I mean, he must have been broadcasting there for decades.
He was broadcasting into his 90s.
Wow, what a guy!
From the cheap seats, Uke. Okay. Those are topics on the table. Looking back at stories of 2025, hey, we just thought we'd do something a little bit different. Now it's your turn to take over this podcast. Brought to you by DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Centers. Lots of locations to serve you. Got projects? They got materials. Want advice? They can be your best friend, your consultant. Go to DIXIELINE.com to see what they have to offer. John, you think we got a few people lined up here who have opinions coming off Christmas and New Year's?
They do. We got a bunch of people on here, and we have one person in particular who's been very generous. So let's get him on board first, and we'll start here with music to my ears, and thanks for your donation. Hey, the idea of the New York Post launching a so-called California Post is laughable. The New York Post isn't a serious newspaper. It's a sensationalist tabloid built on outrage headlines, culture war bait, and ideological framing.
We'll be fascinated to see if it's a print edition or whether it's actually just on the internet. I tend to think the latter rather than the former. Newspaper business has changed on the West Coast. Newspaper business in Los Angeles, San Francisco, even down to San Diego is much different than subway writers and newspaper business in New York City and, quote, tabloid. I use the comment tabloid just to talk about the size of the newspaper that you're reading, not necessarily the content, which at times can be sensational, a.k.a. yellow journalism. But they've hired good people. They've hired good sports writers who are leaving the Los Angeles Times and the San Francisco Chronicle. So we'll have to find out. I don't know. I had no time to check as to whether it's actually going to be a print edition that you can get delivered or buy. But there's hardly any newsstands. Where the hell do you buy a paper now if it's not at the airport? I don't know. So it may well be online more than it is anything else. There'd be nothing wrong there, but we'll just see what they do. You know, the last sports journalism venture was The Athletic. The Athletic, then bought by the New York Times. Athletic is a raging success, and that is all through the internet.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can't lead with print journalism anymore.
Nope.
No way. I mean, if they do have a print version, it's going to be an oh, by the way, you know, it's just something to sort of round out their advertising offerings. You know, that's basically all it's going to be because, yeah, you're right. There's no newsstands. I mean, even if you go to like a Denny's, you don't very often even see like newspapers and the little machines there. Yeah. So, I don't, but there might be you talk about tabloid, you know, the type of paper, or is it like the National Enquirer? But there is something to this whole sports TMZ thing, you know, and I've seen, you know, some content there that's very interesting to me because, you know, these sports athletes, they're all celebrities. So if you're not following the Hollywood elite, you know, on regular TMZ, sports TMZ makes sense. If they can leverage that and make it part of all the glitter and glamour of Hollywood, that could work, maybe.
Okay, we'll just see where it goes. Thanks for joining us and the contribution to keep us going. Hope you become a regular. Tell all your friends what we're doing Mondays and Thursdays at 1:30. John, next one.
Okay, let's go to Phenom. And again, Phenom, thanks for your donation. Hey, guys, as a University of Texas fan, am I being overly paranoid that Arch Manning seems to make many of his big plays on runs instead of with his arm?
I don't know. He put up well over 300 yards run and throw. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, if you run too much, you're going to get dinged. But, boy, he's just so gifted. And he took his jump in productivity from where he was the first 5 weeks of the season has gone from here to up here. So the fact that he's staying and is not going to the NFL draft, wants to continue to be coached hard by Sarkisian. So no, you're not paranoid. It's a growth process, and he's young. He was a redshirt freshman. He's really young.
Yeah, that's what I kind of take it as. Is he's so young, he probably hasn't absorbed the playbook. I mean, Julian Sayin is a very unique young quarterback that can lead a team. And when Arch Manning, you know, had that first big game, who did they play? They played Ohio State, didn't they? Mm-hmm. And he looked overwhelmed, yep. You know. And so when you're overwhelmed, you're not going to be, you know, running all your reads. I mean, you're going to be reacting to the defensive line, and you're going to be scrambling. So, yeah, give it time.
Yeah, I agree. I think second year as Longhorn starter will be fun to watch. Thank you for joining us. Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. Let's go down here the list, and we'll go to Casey. Thanks for the donation. Hey, good afternoon, guys, and Happy New Year's to you both. Hacksaw, who do you like winning the semifinals in the college football games next week?
Wow. Oregon, Indiana rematch. Wow. But the fact that IU did this at Autzen Stadium when they beat them in midseason, wow. I think Oregon could get knocked out, and Oregon is a really complete football team, willing to play any style of football you want. But Indiana is just so physical at the point of attack, and that quarterback does not make mistakes, and they are so gifted at wide receiver. To me, it's almost like it's going to be the national championship game. And in terms of Miami, I've been a doubter because Carson Beck turns the football over a lot. But what Miami did defensively to Ohio State is absolutely stunning. And I just got to believe that this is really going to be a battle that Miami's going to have to duplicate this, again, defensively when we go to the semifinal game. So, I tend to think Oregon-Indiana is really the championship game, even though it's the semifinals. No?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and Indiana's the team to beat here. I mean, at every possible junction, when you think that the House of Cards is going to finally collapse and they're going to turn into the old Hoosiers, they never do. They talk about the personality of their coach. I mean, you saw him like on some of these plays. That Alabama was trying to bait them into jumping the line. We're going to punt. No, we're going to snap the ball. And Cignetti wanted nothing of it. And you see the snarls of Cignetti in his eyes on the sidelines. It was almost sort of like John Gruden. Just the looks that he has. So yeah, Indiana, I think, is in a great spot. Although Oregon is good, but the other game is intriguing to me because they're both sort of kind of. Well, Indiana is a classic newcomer, but Miami and Ole Miss are not usually at this level. So, and then to your point, you said it's like a deep South thing, with Mississippi and Florida, and that's kind of a cool angle. So it's going to be good, and again, at the end of this thing, we're going to have a legit national championship. And by the way, this is the Final Four, right?
Yep.
Why don't they market it as a Final Four?
Well, they don't want to steal anything from March Madness, but I will be intrigued to see how Ole Miss can they duplicate offensively what they just did, because they're going to have to do that. Now, if Chambliss outperforms and outproduces Carson Beck, then Ole Miss is going to be in the finals. You think that would drive Lane Kiffin crazy that he's not being given any credit at all now?
Oh, but everyone knows that those are Lane Kiffin's guys. Yeah. So he's watching. He's kind of expressing his love for his guys, and and then he's got his what was that, the defensive coordinator that's now the head coach, and so so it's got his fingerprints all over it. It's just neat to see Ole Miss. There's been a lot of great quarterbacks that have gone to Ole Miss, but you never see them at the highest level of college football.
No, not at all. And what Chambliss has done since coming from Division II Ferris State, really impressive. Hey, thanks for being with us, Casey, and thank you for the contribution. We move on. Fans Forum, everybody watching, can you hit the thumbs up? Give us a thumbs up. We really would like you to help us in the new year with a thumbs up. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, thumbs up helps the algorithm. Hey, let's go to Callan here, and this is a topic you mentioned just a few moments ago. Afternoon, gents. Saw who is probably the biggest snub off of the USA men's hockey roster for Italy?
I don't know about Italy. I've not seen the Italian roster. I've been so busy with travel and everything, but the USA roster and the Canadian roster, again, fans are always going to have opinions and responses. They're furious in Winnipeg that their frontline guys, Scheifele, etc., did not get named to Team Canada. Now, Connor Hellebuck, the goaltender, did for Team USA. So I think that's one thing. There's a lot of heat on Team USA. Matt Schaefer, the number one draft pick, New York Islanders, who has just stood out at age 18, he did not get named, which really kind of surprised a ton of people there. So just off the top of my head, injuries have something to do with some guys who have not performed well this first half of this season, who had played on Team USA prior. Chris Kreider of the Ducks used to be with the Rangers. He did not get named. So there are some people there that are really kind of upset to be left out. But you can only have a 23-man roster, so there's a lot of good guys that are not going to be picked.
Yeah, this happens all the time, right? When you have these kind of national teams, you got the stars, the veterans, the champions, you got the guys in their prime, and you've got these hot young kids. And there's only so many spots on a roster. Yep. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know how you can debate it, but in the end, it's just sort of out of your hands.
Well, there's so many great players.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the big issue. Thanks, Callum.
Okay, let's go to Mario. He goes, college football has lost all of their traditions. It's become very sad time.
Well, I'm concerned about it because now it's become nothing more than money. Does anybody go to class anymore? I don't think so. Now, the old system was really corrupt. the way the NCAA treated the athletes. That was bad, which led to all the lawsuits, which led to where we are today. Pendulum is pinned over here. They got to find a way to get back. Dan Lanning, I think, has the right idea that there needs to be a revolt from the Coaches Association towards the NCAA rules to change a lot of things to fix this bloody thing. He says, I think Dan's comment he made that I saw was, we need to take control of our games. Our games should not be controlled by college presidents, athletic directors, and the TV networks. Ouch.
Well, yeah, I mean, well, it's got to be the college presidents are kind of the equivalent of the NFL owners, right? Mm-hmm. Sort of. And so you got to put a lot of these big decisions in their hands. It's the coaches aren't going to be the ones deciding all of this. But, the Rose Bowl is still retaining its tradition. It still has the parade. You still have the Rose Bowl game. It's still a big game.
And now it's a qualifier for the Peach Bowl. You've got to be kidding me.
Well, I mean, there have been some years when it was Big Ten, Pac-12, that it was like a down year, So you can still maintain the tradition as long as the bowls are part of the playoff system, So, in my opinion, we were held back with tradition that prevented the sport from having a legitimate champion. Because we got to protect the bowl games. We can't possibly have a national championship game because we need to protect the Rose Bowl and the Sugar Bowl and the Peach Bowl.
Well, but you didn't say the other part of that equation. We need to put all the money in the NCAA's pockets and not take care of these kids.
Well, now the kids are getting paid. I mean, over the table rather than under the table.
By virtue of the lawsuits.
Right. So in a way, it's good. I can't remember what player was it. Was it Mendoza was saying, we worked all season and, we're in the football facility from 5 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. every day. And when he said that, I was like, well, what the hell? I guess you don't go to class.
No.
But, there's time for them to still go to school and get their degree. This is a time when you're seeing the best athletes performing on the stage, getting national recognition, and rightfully being compensated.
I'm really amazed. 4 hours into the opening of the transfer portal. Everybody's in the portal except your Beagle. 4,010 guys in the portal in the first 4 hours. How can that be good for college football?
Yeah, but they got to straighten that out. So if granted, scholarships are only 1 year by 1 year gigs, but they've got to straighten that out too. So when you sign with a school, it's like a contract. Like a professional player signs a 1 year deal, a 2 year deal, a 3 year deal. They need to do it like that, so it's not 1 year deals every year and it's the wild, wild west. But yeah, I mean, I don't blame a lot of these kids for going in the portal. Some of them were not starters. Like in the thing of San Diego State transfers, we know of guys like Trey White, who is a dominant player, a star, going to be drafted at some point in his career. But there are also guys that were like second string, third string that they're going to go in the portal and they might not even get a phone call,
right?
And so they're just going to move on with their life. And it's just how it all sorts out. But every one of these guys, these coaches like Sean Lewis that are in a group of 5, it's like every year you're hitting the restart button.
Continuity is not part of their language any longer.
You have to reboot the whole system every year. That's hard to do.
Okay, thank you for the input. Go on.
Okay, let's keep on trucking. We'll go here to... Okay, this is a nice shout out from Flash Bainey. He goes, hey, hello, Lee and John. Happy New Year. The greatest sports talk show anywhere. Here's to a great 2026. And, John, I think you're more center field. Southern New Mexico strong. Thanks, gentlemen.
Well, John does cover a lot of ground, so maybe we'll make him a center fielder. But if you knew how old he was and his size, he plods a lot, too, so I don't know. But his opinions definitely on some of these topics on the table, his opinions are out there. Out in left field, sometimes on the other side of the fence.
You remember the movie The Bad News Bears?
Yes.
I'm like Kelly Leak. So I play center field, but I cover the whole outfield, right? I'm in left field, I'm in right field, I'm in center field, I'm taking care of what needs to be taken care of.
I thought you're referencing yourself to be the kid that was on the motorcycle that smoked cigarettes.
Yeah, that's Kelly Leak. Okay. That's him.
That's you.
You remember there was that one kid that was on there, was like a big Hank Aaron fan.
Yeah.
And he played left field, and again, Kelly Leak would always come over to his side of the field to catch the ball for him.
Yeah, so the kid wouldn't wouldn't get killed by a fly ball.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and let's go here to John. Happy New Year, Lee and John. Can't believe the players at Ole Miss were able to put aside all the noise about the coach that deserted them and beat Georgia. This has to be a story.
Oh, I think the distraction was unbelievable, and the kids who are loyal to Kiffin, that was unbelievable. They stayed, at least played one more game, or will stay now because they're in the semifinals and a legitimate chance to go to the finals. Burning question, what does Kiffin do with the 6 assistants? You know, as of early morning, he had made no statements at all as to whether he's going to allow those guys to stay an extra week or an extra 2 weeks. He should, for the benefit of the program, rather than say you have to come work for me right now at LSU. Kiffin's going to draw people in the transfer portal regardless if everybody knows who the coordinators are going to be. Charlie Weiss is going to come as the offensive coordinator. He's already hired a new defensive guy. So at the end of the day, let these guys finish this run with these kids. It's all part of Kiffin's team, but there's a lot of resentment in Oxford towards Kiffin.
Well, yeah. I mean, you know, it's like you broke up with your girlfriend and now he's dating the hot chick next door or something, you know, with LSU. So it's just interesting, the playoffs, the way they work, because we thought going in that the Georgia-Ole Miss game might be the most lopsided of the 4. Yep. And it ended up being the most entertaining game of the 4, you know. So it was a wild weekend, but you know, you got to give it up for Ole Miss. I mean, it's their moment.
Yeah, Trinidad Chambliss is quite a quarterback.
Yeah, he really is. I mean, some of the scrambles he was doing.
Dynamic.
I mean, he was running back and forth. He was like 35 yards behind the line of scrimmage. He'd still kind of run forward and still be able to get the pass off. I mean, he's a very dynamic player.
Yeah, the shocker to me out of the 4 games wasn't Ole Miss outslugging Georgia. The shocker to me was Miami taking down all things Ohio State.
Yeah, that was a big one. But, you know, this is the beauty of it is that we're not letting these teams in by reputation. They're getting is they got to earn it, and they got to play the games in the playoff format, and they got to earn it. And so, yeah, Ohio State, man, you're not on your pedestal
anymore.
Not anymore.
Okay,
no.
We move on. Thank you, John.
Okay, here's a couple here from Graham. The first one's terrific. Saw's shirt is lit.
I had to dig deep in the back of my closet to find it. This is old school.
I when you walked in here, I said it looked like a shirt from the 1990s, and you were like, maybe it's from the 70s.
1970s.
I like it. It's good. Okay, let's get Graham's other comment in here. He goes, hey, looking forward to all the excuses that Aaron Rodgers will pull out after their loss to the Ravens this week.
Well, Baltimore's not vintage Baltimore because Lamar Jackson's hurt, and he's trying to play hurt, and he can't run, so therefore he's more one-dimensional than he is dangerous. Let's be understanding, though. Aaron Rodgers, his quarterback rating, I think, is 97. He's got 27 touchdowns and only 7 picks. He's played well within the structure of they want. They don't make a lot of mistakes in Pittsburgh. They're just not very explosive. Now, they say T.J. Watt may play. I don't know. He's coming off this lung injury, and he was hospitalized, etc. It's not vintage Steeler football. The weather forecast I checked for Sunday in Pittsburgh will be cloudy, cold, and 110% chance of Derrick Henry.
Yeah. Man, you don't like going Pittsburgh, man, like late in the season here.
Can't be any worse than going to Detroit late in the season.
Yeah, well, at least Detroit is like in a dome.
Yeah.
So this can be a classic matchup. I mean, so this is for a playoff spot, right? I mean, is there
first place, AFC North?
We were calling the Ravens as doomed earlier in the year.
1-5 start. Look where they are now, 8-8.
Yeah, and they might sneak in at 9-8, right?
Yeah, but they'd also be last one in, first one out. I don't think Pittsburgh, Baltimore survives the wild card game. I don't think Carolina, Tampa, who are fighting in the other mid-level division in the NFC, I don't think either one of them gets beyond the first game.
I don't know. I mean, it's just the Ravens. You just if Lamar, didn't get hurt, I mean, they would be and now he's back.
Yeah, but he's not 100%
But still, I mean, it's Lamar Jackson. I mean, so I expect Baltimore to be a formidable foe in the playoffs. With Pittsburgh, it's just whatever, Aaron Rodgers, if he has a good game or not. And yeah, I mean, to Graham's point, we're going to hear excuses from Aaron Rodgers if they lose because he'll have some snarky comment to make.
No, but we'll start to hear love me not again. Well, I don't know. I'm a free agent. I love Pittsburgh, but I don't know.
Well, he's already doing that now, isn't he?
Exactly. Okay, Grant, thanks for being with us.
Okay, let's go here to Javier. Hey, is Fernando Mendoza the guaranteed first pick now?
Well, I think that'll be sorted out that there's a difference in athleticism. There's obviously a difference in maturity. I mean, Fernando Mendoza, he's an Ivy League guy. I mean, he was supposed to go to Yale, and he wound up going to Cal. It was the only offer he had, and he excelled at California. And then what he's done in the system at Indiana is just phenomenal. But there's going to have to be an evaluation of how good this quarterback at Ole Miss is, because I tend to think this is a phenomenal athlete. And, is he Kyler Murray? Is he Caleb Williams? He is so athletic and dart and dash, move and make throws down the field. So that's what the whole scouting combine is going to be. That's what the whole offseason evaluation will be. I think one of these guys will be one. The next one will be the next quarterback probably taken.
Yeah, Mendoza has had a hell of a year. I mean, to your point, he makes all the big-time passes. He's accurate. He's smart. But he looks like a guy that, like, if he got hit by Micah Parsons, it's game over.
No.
He doesn't seem like a very strong guy.
He's a big guy, but you build that through an NFL strength program. You say the same thing, though, about Chambliss. Chambliss gets hit by Micah Parsons. That's game over.
Yeah.
So, but that's what this entire evaluation is.
Well,
everybody that I know in the league is of the opinion Raiders get the number one pick because they're going to lose this final game, and they take Mendoza because they need a starting point to fix it, and the Raiders have so many other problems, but they need some legitimacy at starting quarterback because I don't think Geno Smith is the same Geno Smith any longer, and of course the team around him is terrible.
What about Diego Pavia? I mean, do you think he could be a success in the NFL? I mean, he seems like he's got the Raider brand like baked into him.
You dummy. What's the area code for the Ottawa Rough Riders Canadian Football League?
You think that's where he's going?
I think he should go there. I think he'd consider it. He's too small to play in the NFL, but he's so dynamic in terms of scattering all over the place. I think he would excel in the CFL.
Oh, yeah. I got the big wide open field and everything else.
And 3 downs and all that junk, and they throw it all the time. And if you got a running quarterback who can do it and not get hurt, so we'll see.
Yeah, Mendoza will probably go 1. But again, if I'm the Raiders, I trade out of that number 1 spot.
Yeah, especially since Chambliss is there. So if somebody else wants Mendoza, maybe you drop back a couple spots, but you don't want to go too far back because you still have a quarterback need. And that quarterback is either the Hoosier or the Rebel.
Yeah, or Geno Smith or Kenny Pickett.
No. We're not going back there.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Okay, let's go here. This is a quick shout out from Neil. Happy New Year, franchise.
Yes, sir. Same to you.
Okay, and let's go here. This is from Joseph, He goes, my favorite college football team is the Sooners, and second, the Bruins. Riley left fast and unfinished business. His failure to have a good defense has been his downfall. Kiffin and Riley opportunists.
No doubt about it. But Riley brought Caleb Williams, and it gave you 2 years of spectacular offense at at USC. But at the end of the day, it didn't have enough defense. And your transfer portal's changed a bunch of things, and they've gotten dinged in that portal, et cetera. So his inability to put together a defensive staff and with access to as many great players as Southern Cal has, he's of the opinion that, hey, number 1 recruiting class in the country, they're coming here. Heritage Hall, well, that's fine. But if you got a defensive staff going to run the right system for that number 1 recruiting class, who knows? He's not held in very high regard in Southern Cal tradition.
Well, back in the day, there were coaches like Bo Schembechler. You could even say like Nick Saban. He's a little more recent, of course. But, there are certain classic coaches that have these pristine kind of images, that they're good guys, they're solid character, they recruit the best talent, they win championships. How many guys are like that now? Well,
we got the transfer portal. It's got part of that equation.
Yeah, I mean, so you get you got Kirby Smart in Georgia. You got Sarkisian in Texas. All these guys, their personalities, they talk a big game, but they're not going to win it every year. So when I see like here, I mean, when Lincoln Riley came to SC, I was optimistic.
Yeah.
I really think he could change the fortunes of the program. But when he came here, weren't they still in the Pac-12?
Yeah.
So the whole system has been blown up, so it just makes you wonder, do you blame the coach, or are they just, got caught up in the whitewash of the system?
Well, the system's landscape has radically changed, but it hasn't killed Oregon. Dan Lanning is 47-5, I think, as a head coach since he took the job with the Ducks.
Yeah, but that's the exception and not the rule.
Yeah.
I mean, every one of these other college coaches are dealing with chaos. And even Lanning, to his credit, they win, but he knows of the chaos because he's been speaking out about it.
Yeah, I mean, I thought, wow, what an acquisition to get Link Riley and Caleb Williams. I thought, boom, SC's back. I also thought the arrival of Chip Kelly was going to bring all things that used to be at Oregon to UCLA, and none of that ever happened. So we got a lot more things are going to change in college football, and we'll see if there's ever going to get a solution to the situation. I mean, who would have thought Michigan be on the brink of extinction? Who would have thought post Harbaugh would be so bad? And look at the mess that they are. Now, granted, Ohio State's got Ryan Day, but who would have thought Penn State would have this thing evolve the way it did, and for that to fall apart? There's so many changes across the board.
Well, can you maybe see a near future where Alabama continues to erode with the loss of Nick Saban? I mean, DeBoer is a great coach, but he's not Nick Saban. And so when players, maybe Alabama was always their number one for the elite 5-star player, I don't think it's their number one destination anymore.
It's all about buying players.
Right.
Yeah, but when it comes down, who's got the tradition, who's got the money? You're going to go to Auburn, which has been face first down, or you're going to go to Bama. You know, it's
or Texas Tech's got oil money.
Exactly. But they didn't bloody win.
No.
They weren't even competitive in that game.
You were talking about that game. It was going to be two like high octane offenses, and Texas put up a goose egg. Texas Tech.
Yeah, the Ducks took them out of the game.
It was incredible because the first half of the game, I think it was like 6-0. I mean, it was like the defenses was just tremendous. That defensive line for Texas Tech was really good.
Yeah, and the offensive line just self-destructed in Oregon. Like I said at the onset of this podcast, Dan Lanning, give me the parameters of how you want to play this game. Where we're playing it, what style you want to play, and then we'll just beat you. And they beat them. They beat them with their defense. Dante Moore did not outgun.
No, he didn't.
But Oregon's defense destroyed the offensive line of Texas Tech. Kept taking holding just nonstop.
Yeah.
Okay, we move on.
Okay, here's a comment from Drunken Mick, and this is like a follow-up from Music to My Ears because he was talking about the California Post.
Yes.
You know? And so Drunken Mick says, hey, spare me. At least the New York Post ran the Hunter Biden laptop story and didn't bury it like everyone else in cahoots with the Biden administration. You are a propagandist. So this is part of the battle amongst people in the chat room, kind of a little snark, smack talk going on.
Everybody's entitled to an opinion. Yours, mine, his. Doesn't matter.
Okay, let's go here to Michael. Hey, look for the Bruins to improve. Chesney comes in from JMU and will be playing at SoFi Stadium. Going to be bigger.
Well, I don't know that lawsuit's been solved yet. I think this is going to be much more complex than you're making, unless you're going to give him $83 million to buy out the rest of the lease of the Rose Bowl. But he's bringing 5 coaches from James Madison. His quarterback from JMU, Alonzo Bennett, has just gone into the transfer portal, and that's a dynamic kid. Now, maybe he comes here for a year. Now, Nico came back as the UCLA quarterback. So they've got a lot of work to do. They've got to stockpile more players, and maybe he'll bring a truckload of kids from James Madison to at least give him a foundation. So it'll be fun to watch. Anything's better than what we've experienced at UCLA, so that's where we are.
I'm encouraged by this Chesney guy.
He's won everywhere he's been.
Exactly. That's the thing. He knows how to win. So I'm willing to give this guy, a good chance. I mean, it's certainly a way better hire than Deshaun Foster.
Yeah.
When they hired Deshaun Foster, you're like, okay, I remember him as a player, but he hadn't done anything in coaching, had he?
No, he'd never called plays, never been anything except somebody's running back coach. But they hired him based on heritage, wearing the Bruin colors, and that's supposed to carry things. And then you got there and you saw the staff he put together, and it blew up in his face. And then you see all the players they didn't recruit, and just a bad set of circumstances. But at the end of the day, as you allude to, that guy did it at Division III, Division II, Division I AA, and then he did it at James Madison when they went Division I at that Harrisonburg, Virginia school. He's a good coach, got track record, got a lot of experience. Is it unique they're hiring somebody who's not a West Coast recruiting ties guy from across the country? No, but it's UCLA's heritage, and that'll open doors. And then you get a coach in front of you who's giving you the sales pitch, and his resume. So we'll just see how quickly they can flip this.
Right on. All right. I think it's a good move.
Yep.
Okay, let's go here to Doug. He goes, this is talking about the national teams for hockey. He goes, their real young guys will have several Olympics to play. I say make way for the older guys in their prime. The youngsters have time. And by the way, they still need to prove themselves long term.
Yeah, I mean, Quinn Hughes, who just got traded to Minnesota, was named to the team. And he's young and he's really gifted. But they did not take the number 1 draft pick of the New York Islanders, who I thought Schaefer was a lock to get taken. But he's only 18 years of age, and he's only got half a season of NHL play under his belt. But again, there's limitations as to how many are on the roster, so I understand that some good names do get let off.
That's a good point, though, the Olympics. Because the Olympics, you can still have pro hockey players, right?
Sure.
Kind of like the dream team in basketball.
Yep.
So, that would make sense. Like from a sport level, they might say our young stars will play in the Olympics, but our veterans are going to play in the 4 nations. That makes sense.
Well, but there's a lot of veterans on Team Canada, Team USA. They're not. I mean, Connor McDavid is carrying the flag at the opening ceremony for Team Canada, the Oilers star. He's a young veteran.
So he's going to play in both tournaments. He's wanting to get anything he can.
Well, he's going to be in the Olympics, yeah. I mean, the Frozen, that tournament, we'll set that aside. This is all this conversation is about the Olympics.
It is.
In Italy, yes.
Okay.
That's the only thing we're talking about right now.
Okay. Did they ever straighten out the ice rink in Italy? Remember, it was the wrong dimensions?
The rink is the rink, so they're going to have to play it. They're not going to move the games. Not going to move them to Davos, Switzerland, I was told. They're going to play them in Italy. Tighter confines.
All right.
Kind of interesting.
That is weird. Okay, let's go here to Lauer. He goes, hey, what are the Padres doing?
Well, they're not done. They lost out on Imai because Scott Boras asked for add-ons after Preller made what he thought was his best offer. We keep hearing Okamoto, the third baseman, first baseman, but again, he's represented by Boras. The Padres are not going to pay him 2 years, $50 million. That was supposedly the price if Boras wanted a shorter-term contract. He wanted the bigger average. We're not going to pay him $25 million. The budget is restricted. And again, the minute you deal with Boras, you're dealing with the year's term, and you're dealing with the max money. Then you're dealing with he wants average salary. And then, by the way, there's add-ons. That's what killed the Imai deal, is he wanted $9 million in bonus money for innings pitched. Well, I'm paying him the going big rate to come be my third starter. Why should I have to pay him bonus money on top of that for innings pitched? Let him earn it. And then the other thing is there's a posting fee. You have a percentage, it's 20% of whatever the max contract is. 20% of that money goes to this. You have to pay, in addition, it goes to Cebu Lions. So that chased the Padres out of that. It chased the Padres probably out of the Okamoto deal, too.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to do business with Boras.
Yes.
I mean, unless it's a guy you really want.
Or it's the Dodgers, Mets, Yankees with a checkbook.
Yeah, exactly. So, my instinct, though, is that Preller is cooking. Preller has got something going on here.
He knows everybody everywhere, and he'll find a way to do something. The question is, what does he have to pay to do it?
Yeah.
I mean, are you better if you move Cronenworth out of here, to go get another pitcher? Because that's the chip, I think, that he's got. You're not going to trade Laureano. You're not,
he's expendable. The only guys that are not tradable are like
the guys with the contracts.
Yeah, Machado, Tatis, Xander. Well, maybe Tatis, but I don't think anybody is untouchable. I think Preller is willing to flip anyone. So I fully expect that something is going to happen. Like a couple of years ago, remember when he traded for Darvish and then 2 days later he traded for Snell? Mm-hmm. And you're like, oh my God, what the heck? And something like that's going to happen. Whether it's, I don't necessarily say it's going to be a big star pitcher, but it's going to be players that you never thought were involved in trades are going to suddenly be traded. And somehow he's going to find a way to fill all those holes.
But then he creates other holes along the way, too.
No, but he's going to flip like 1 for 3 or something like that.
Cronenworth is not going to bring you 3 in any type of deal.
That's what I'm saying, and that's why I think it could be a bigger deal. You're not going to just do an isolated trade of Cronenworth. It's going to be like Cronenworth, and then, I don't know, maybe Cronenworth and Laureano and 2 guys in the minors, and then you're going to give us like 3 or 4 starters at the major league level, something like that.
You're a baseball fan doing a podcast with me, not thinking very clearly. But we'll see where it goes. He's not done. There's still players out there. He's just got to find the right player at the right price tag to get him here, because it's not opening day is not Monday. Okay.
No, but I saw a really good quote, and it says is that on New Year's Eve, you still feel like it's a million miles away from spring training.
Pal, it's 6 weeks before the opening of camp as of breakfast this morning.
That's the thing, is that once you turn the calendar over to the new year, then spring training is within sight.
Tick, 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 tick.
Yeah, so here we go.
Okay,
let's go to social media. We got a lot of folks here. And let's talk some Chargers. And this is with Robert. And talk about Justin Herbert, because this isn't there isn't a single other quarterback in the league that would have this Chargers team sitting at 10-4 and being undefeated. This is a few weeks ago when he posted this, sitting there at 10-4 and being undefeated in the AFC West. If the MVP voting actually picked the most valuable player, Justin Herbert should win.
Agree wholeheartedly. Won't be that way, but I mean, there's great regard for him as a player and as a leader, and I think the fans should appreciate greatness. And this is greatness. This is toughness. This is skill. He does it all. I mean, for him to have 4,200 all-purpose yards and get battered the way he has and stay on the field and stay in the lineup, what a great accomplishment. And as I said a week ago, and if there are critical things that need to be said about the Chargers, I'm going to say them. But this is nobody's fault. This is just an end result of the battering that's happened up front in that offensive line. What'd they lose? 4 running backs? All the top running backs have been in and out of the lineup with major injuries, and they lost the 2 stud anchor offensive tackles, and they've had deficiencies at right guard. Becton's been a bust. Deficiencies at center continued with Bozeman. Quinn Johnson has not had a great season at left guard again. So they've got issues that they need to fix, but this was potentially, when this camp opened, this was a really gifted team, and it's not now because they're so battered. But that's not on the quarterback. That's on bad luck.
Yeah, you can't blame him. I mean, there was a video clip I saw on X, and it was, some guy said, if there's ever been a single video moment that summarized the player's career, it's this one. And it showed Herbert in the pocket, dodging, maneuvering, swerving around the defensive line, gets the pass off, hits the Charger player in the hands, and it's dropped. And it's just like, Herbert is doing everything humanly possible to carry this team, but he can't do it alone.
Yeah, and he's had no team around him. He's had 24 different offensive line combinations this year, 5 different left tackles, 4 different right tackles, and most of the right tackles have been really substandard. So this is not on him. It's everything that's not around him at this point, but that's why you have an off season. You try to go back and try to make it better.
Yeah. Okay, let's keep on going here. We got some comments here about the Dodgers. And this is from MM Blazer. And he says, get a reliever, a defensive center fielder, no big money player. Try the kids from the minors. You're going to make the playoffs anyways if the youngsters don't pan out. Add a bat at the trade deadline.
Could well be. At the end of the day, I mean, the acquisition of Diaz was, to me, a bit of a surprise because I don't think he's quite the same closer that he used to be with the Mets. But you add Diaz, you help. You're going to be healthy in terms of your starting rotation. They still have the potential to make another trade if they wish. They could move one of the 3 top outfielders at AA. Well, they just keep everybody playing and just see where this goes. And they're going to get some injured pitchers back. They're going to be, I bet by opening day, John will have a heart attack when they list all the pitchers the Dodgers have that are ready to start the season who've had some accomplishment level at Major League Baseball. So they don't have to make a deal right now. They can be patient, and we'll just see where this goes. But they are so deep in the minor leagues, in outfielders, in infielders. They got lots of shortstops, and obviously very deep still in pitching, though some of that pitching's coming off surgery. So the mandate at Dodger Stadium is not make a trade. Mandate at Petco Park is, this the team you're going to put on the field? No, they got to make more deals. So,
how you feeling?
Crummy, thank you.
Yeah, you hanging in there?
We're getting to the finish line.
Yeah.
I am playing hurt.
Yeah, let me know when you want to wrap this up.
Well, we'll get to the bottom of the hour.
Okay, we'll keep on trucking. All right. So the Dodgers are loaded. They got plenty of plenty of resources.
Yes.
Let's go back to this. This is a topic we talked about last time about some of the hacksaw love from the Hacksaw History podcast we did, and this is from Phenom. He goes, back in those days, I worked as a courier in Southern California, and 690 is what got me through the day. I liked the other hosts, but when it was time for hacksaw, that's when it got real. I love the way you would tease stories. It's just crossing wires. Stay tuned. Your passion for sports was infectious. Sometimes at the end of the day, I get home and sit in my car to finish listening to the show. I now live in Texas, but I randomly shout out, touchdown San Diego, so much that my kids chime in and say it with me. Thank you so much for all your hard work over the years.
Very kind comments of you. Worked really hard, really enjoyed it, did it very differently. Nobody had ever done it before. I think and I never paid any attention to that because I was just so working so hard. Got to do this, got to do that. This is the next show. This is what we got planned next week, etc. By the way, I need to prepare because I'm going to do this Charger broadcast or this Aztec broadcast or this SC broadcast, or I'm going on a plane to Seattle to do the Seahawks. I was just working. The funniest thing that was ever said to me was the first time I met the great Peter Seidler, and he knew who I was, which kind of stunned me, but then I wasn't paying attention. Of course he knew who I was on a 77,000-watt radio station. And at the introductory press conference, when he and Ron Fowler bought the Padres from the interloper who had taken him from John Moore's, he said, I know you. He said, I listen to you every day. I made sure that I was in your 405 parking lot at 4 o'clock to hear the best 15 minutes in sports. And it dawned on me what he was saying. He was addicted to the information and the style and whatever it was. And he was a listener. And I think that's what a lot of people were, because I gave people something nobody else had ever done before. And to this day, we do things differently than anybody currently today is attempting to do. Everybody can sit there behind a microphone and have an opinion. But does everybody have the ability to gather the volume of information on all the different sports on the waterfront, as I used to call them, and be able to give you some value there or some inside information from the network of people that I kind of hang with? John's as good a friend as I have right now. But dumbass has not helped me solve the problem with my email package. I have 17,000 emails, and I can't get rid of all this stuff that's stuck because I get so many emails every day from people I work with, network with, to everything else, too. So just direct John to get off his ass and help me.
You're probably on too many mailing lists. You got to unsubscribe, and those spammers are always after you.
That takes time.
Yeah, it does. I just remember back in the day listening to you, and it was electric, because in the 80s, you listen to the Padres pregame, postgame show. It was nice, and there's a little talk radio maybe after the game.
Mom and pop radio.
Very mom and pop. And then suddenly you came rolling out here, got my hot headlines, best 15 minutes in sports, and you were just hammering with these points.
Every day.
Every day. You were just firing bullets, and I was like, holy crap. And then you put you behind a blowtorch signal, 77,000 watts. Yeah, it's no doubt that Seidler heard you on the 405. Everyone heard you up in L.A.
Yeah, it was cool. Mr. Seidler was such a unique person. I did kind of a different relationship with him compared to any other owner that I ever had. And for the most part, I got along with virtually all the owners that I dealt with. Didn't always agree with what I had to say. Larry Lucchino marched out of his office down into the parking lot at Qualcomm Stadium to confront me while I was on the air about something I'd said about Fernando Valenzuela coming to the Padres for 15 minutes. He took exception to it, which is okay. But I got along with a large variety. And there are people out there that don't like me. There are guys in the media that don't like me. I am who I am. Tough crap.
Yeah, well, it's like you're a one man's opinion guy, right? Yeah. And so when you have strong opinions, you're going to have lovers and haters, and so it's just the nature of the beast. Mm-hmm. They're also, I bet you, they're envious. Because, seriously, because what you accomplish then, because like right now in the internet world, there is endless amounts of sports information that's available at our fingertips.
Awful lot of noise.
But back in the 80s and 90s, there was no internet.
The first one through the wall.
Right. And so what you did, you and your colleagues at Extra Sports 690 created something that, from my point of view, had never been done before. Now, granted, I know WFAN had done that, but it was still so innovative. So, I mean, are you like, there's a Southern California Broadcaster Hall of Fame. Are you in that?
No.
You should be.
Well, I haven't been voted in yet. They just voted in Steve Hartman. Now, he's more of an LA guy than he is anything else. He just got voted in, but that's cool. I was voted Talk Show Host of the Year 7 times. I have 7 different plaques at home in my library for being the Talk Show Host of the Year 7 different times. But like anything else, things change. Corporate radio came in and changed, and Rec 690 and then Rec 1090. And I could never, ever forgive them. They didn't treat me badly. They just bought my contract out like they bought everybody else's out. Do you know, John, I've said this before, do you know how many good people are out there living in this market that had success in our format, Sports Talk Radio, who are not working? It's stunning, but that's the world we live in. So thank goodness with a podcast. If I had not met you, who the hell knows what I'd be doing?
Oh, you would still be writing your website.
Oh, yeah. But
and you'd still be on KUSI.
Yeah.
But this is fun. We're able to do this, and fans are able to kind of experience you all over again. And there's new fans that are discovering you. And then especially, like with Fino, I'm saying, old fans reconnecting.
Yes.
And I think that's special. I mean, the amount of response from that Hacksaw History podcast was awesome.
Well, you can go on the YouTube channel. You want to find out about how this all happened. John and I did an interview. We ran it on the day after Christmas. It's called Hacksaw History, History of Sports Talk Radio. So give it a listen. I think you'll get a kick out of it. A little bit long, but that's who we are, why we got here, how we became what we became.
It was a long-form podcast format.
Mm-hmm.
Like Joe Rogan, he goes like 3-4 hours.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was the intent of that. That was only about an hour 10.
And now we're doing 2 hours per show Monday and Thursdays.
Yeah. And you're doing it, man. You're playing hurt.
Oh, big time. Okay, a couple more here before it'll wrap it up.
See, you just can't stop, man. You just keep going. I love it. Okay, let's talk some Padres. And let's go here to Seasoned Vibes. He goes, Preller doesn't know how to build a championship team. Now he has a limited budget and a depleted farm system.
Because he traded the farm system 4.5 times away. The only one he's got left is the kid catcher, Salas. The rest of them are all young pitchers down in the rookie league. He's traded everybody. I would have never imagined he would have traded DeVries, but he did. At the end of the day, he spent what he had to spend to get cornerstone guys that would send a message to baseball. We are now a different franchise. And he did. And at the end of the day, they've given us 5 really good years of baseball at Petco Park. But he keeps buying on the credit card, and the credit card always comes due. And we haven't been to a World Series yet. And we haven't really been close to a World Series yet. And now we got all the injuries to the pitchers. It's just your staff is never the same from year to year. So I hope the window's not closed. He'll be creative. He'll do some more stuff. And then we'll evaluate him on this next set of moves like we always evaluate him on all the other sets of moves.
It's just, how do I say this? Is so many of the guys he's traded away, all the hot prospects or whatever, they either, for the most part, they have either not panned out or they're still buried in the minors. Mm-hmm. The only superstars that he's traded away are, Trey Turner, maybe who's Anthony Munoz, the closer for the Seattle Mariners, has been terrific. But what other,
Max Fried's of the world?
Oh, Max Fried, that's a good one. Okay, but
I'd have to sit down and take me some time to go through a laundry list of transactions on a year-by-year basis, but he has moved a lot of
Josh
people.
Naylor would be another good one in terms of all-star caliber guys, but he's gotten so much more in return.
But you have not sat next to me in the press box in the World Series.
They should have won it 2 years ago when they went 24 innings without scoring against the Dodgers.
Yes.
You have to blame Preller for that?
His players, his roster.
But still, he's doing things that a Padre GM has never done.
I concur. And that's why I'm more patient with him.
What do we expect? Do you think we can get like a Andrew Friedman to build a Dodgers franchise here with the farm system? You can't build what LA has here in San Diego. It's just mathematically, economically impossible.
I concur. Unless you have ownership that has got deep pockets, that doesn't worry about profit-loss ledgers and just wants to make a great thing. But they've squeezed every dollar I think they can squeeze out of this franchise, out of this marketplace, out of Petco Park, out of the fans. We've talked extensively about the raising of the ticket prices 57% over 5 years. And it's expensive to go to Padre baseball. Fans do it. Fans love the franchise, etc. But at the end of the day, how much more can you ask? I mean, they are taxing the fans' loyalty
It's
now.
not taxing. Come on. The money's going to the players. So it's an entertainment product, and people are willing to spend big money, when a big-time entertainment comes to town. And you got Tatis and Machado. You've got, all these stars. We had Juan Soto for a while. Yeah, I mean, would you rather have it the opposite way, that they're not increasing ticket prices and we're back into the days of Chris D'Onofrio? I mean, that would be silly. I mean, it's better now than it's ever been in Padre history, but it's, to your point, it still ain't good enough.
Or we haven't gotten there.
No.
That's the big issue, and they keep trying. Hey, listen, we hope you have enjoyed this podcast during this holiday period. If you'd like to know the history of Sports Talk Radio in San Diego, Hacksaw's history, if you just circle back, you can find the podcast in full that we put up on the YouTube channel. It ran right after the day after Christmas. We'll be back here on Monday. Am I right? Man, I'm so jet lagged.
I know it is.
On Monday, we'll be back at 1:30. We'll be talking about what's happened in the NFL final weekend of the season. Talk about the coaching carousel, pink slips, Black Monday, and all that. And then we'll be talking about the college football playoffs, and we'll probably have more baseball moves, as John would say. Dominoes are starting to fall in free agency. I think there'll be a bunch more in the next week. Podcast brought to you by DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Centers. 9 locations to serve you in San Diego. DIXIELINE. Build it, fix it. Guarantee you will enjoy it. Go to DIXIELINE.com to see all the things they have to offer. Thanks for being part of this. Hope you'll tell your friends. Give us a thumbs up. Hit the follow button. Give us a 5-star rating. It helps us a great deal. John, for being out in left field as long as you've been out in left field, you do a pretty good job.
Thank you. Yeah, so do you. Man, some chicken noodle soup would be in order tonight.
Have a great sports weekend.
You too.
Have a great sports weekend, too. And thank you, as always, in being so kind with your comments and joining us on Hacksaw's Headlines.
Join us again for Hacksaw's Headlines on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And find the audio version on your favorite podcast apps.
Touchdown, San Diego!
For more content, go to LeeHacksawHamilton.com.